Hi Level 4 students, Lewis here, just giving you a little bit of a heads up through an audio recording for this topic of key influences that you're going to do some self-directed investigating, reading, and then putting into your own words some information that we've prepared for you in two places. So you can go straight to the assessment and open it, or you can go straight to the resources and you'll see that there is a list of the same web links on this page that are actually in the headings that are in the assessment. So if you go back to the assessment and open that, you'll see that the document is located there. But perhaps before you even start this, I'd just encourage you to go to the plagiarism document that is here on Moodle in this week's readings, and just have a quick scan of that if you've not got familiar with what the toi oho mai sort of expectations are, because you're going to be paraphrasing, you're going to be reading and then putting things in your own words. And it could just be good to just be aware of and just refresh your memory as to what's expected in regards to writing and using information in your answers. But let's just go straight now to the assessment, and you'll see that there's a document to open up. So do that, and then open the front page of it, and you'll see the heading and the instructions of what I think is probably the simplest thing, if you can manage this, is to highlight pages 4 to 11, cut and paste that onto a new Word document, and then save that into your file and fill in your answers there. And this will hugely reduce the percentage of Turnitin that comes in from our instructions into your answers. So scan down through the second page and you'll see there are learning outcomes. The focus of this topic is about a range of things to do with information of importance to how you function as a caregiver. So we're going to look at person-centered care, we're going to look at advocacy, ethical practice, professionalism and reflective practice, cultural awareness and responsiveness, and legislation. So it's a little bit of a scanning of these things and a little bit of making sense of them so that you've got a bit of language and a bit of understanding. So at your own time, read through that. There's a declaration of this being your own work. This is the page on page 2 of the resources that we're going to get you to look up. Each numbered resource fits with the numbered answer. So what we're going to suggest you do is you can look elsewhere, but really everything you're going to need for this assessment is on this page, and all you're really going to have to do is to highlight it. Sorry, just a sec. Highlight that and then right-click it and then open the hyperlink, and that should take you to a separate web page where there is some information to just take your time and read through. Some of them have got a little video, and really from this page, you should take some notes as you read and develop your own paragraph to go into your answer. So each topic will have a reading within that assessment document, and that should give you the material or information that you need in order to answer each section. So just to make that clear, you've got the first chapter about person-centered, and then after you've read that, you go through to the document and you answer what person-centered is. So here in this block, you'd be writing your answer for that first reading that you've done. Then you'd go back to the second reading, open that, and you'd come through to the next part. And you can see that first one is about a page. The second topic is about ethical practice. And here for the second reading, you would be answering some information about that. All of those blue highlighted bits in sequence give you one or two options to look at for some reading for each topic. So that's really all you've got to do. Like I said, you can look elsewhere, but everything is pretty much there in those web links. Once you get through to the cultural awareness page, which is this one, some of the information to do with this is from Irihapati Ramsden and a model that she's got on the next page in this document. So if you scan down further, you'll see that there's some summary information and the model that she's talking about of 3 steps to a simple understanding of our learning and our becoming culturally responsive or culturally sensitive. So that information can be used for the cultural sensitivity information. And you'll see that for the legislation question, just after page 10, after you've got the gaps to fill in, you'll see that there's a list on page 12 of the options to choose from for the legislation. So we're wanting 4 legislation described and how they're relevant, and you'll see that there is 8 options there on that page to choose from. And if you wanted to, you can basically just look these up on Google and try to find a page that describes the purpose of that. So usually that's going to be your introduction or the first chapter in describing the function and purpose of each one of these. Choose 4 of them. If you happen to choose the last one, which is the number 8 Crimes Act, again, there's a summary of that one on the next page in the document, page 13. And here is a bit of a one-page summary taken out of a nursing journal that sort of goes through what the reason for the change to the Crimes Act recently has been for vulnerable children and also for vulnerable older people. So once you've read through and given a brief summary for the legislation, that's the last part of the assessment. So you'll see here that you have 3 parts to do for that last legislation. You've got 4 of them to do. You name the legislation first. You give a very brief, it's only 4 or 5 lines to explain what that legislation or the act is about. And then just a couple of sentences, the third part of that is to say, how is it relevant to you? So what's the benefit? What do you get out of having that legislation there for you yourself? Could be as a caregiver, it could be as for you personally. Once you've finished the legislation part, that's the last of the assessment, and then you're ready to Dropbox it back into Moodle for marking. Or if you wanted to get some input from me, you can get some feedback once prior to submitting it for assessment. Cool. All right, we look forward to hearing from you, or any emails or questions you've got as to how to do this. Just get back to us or to me by email. Thanks.